Take a look at this headline. Washington State funneled federal COVID relief to radical political groups, all based on race. Woohoo. The author of that is Jason Rantz, and Jason Rantz joins us now. Tell me more about what you found out, Jason.
Yeah, so about $12 million were put into the Washington Equity Relief Fund. It was set up by the state of Washington, and it was set up with CARES Act funds. So these are federal tax dollars. Now, nonprofits were selected to get this funding because they are dealing with the COVID crisis like so many other businesses are. And obviously, nonprofits are already running on really low budgets. But the way for them to qualify would be only if they are led by people of color and serve communities of color.
What?
So already this means, let's say you are a nonprofit that serves the homeless community in Spokane or Seattle and you're run by white women. Well, you wouldn't qualify for any assistance. Now, to dole out the funding, you would first have to go through reviewers who would go over the applications. The reviewers themselves were selected on the basis of their race. Ironically, they also had to go through anti-bias training. So when I looked at the actual list of the organizations that were getting the funding, I noticed a common theme of some political groups getting it, not necessarily based on need, but based on their politics. One of them that jumped out to me was the Bail Project of Spokane. Now, I looked at all the documents that the Department of Commerce sent over by Washington State. At no point does it indicate that this was an organization that asked for funding based on COVID need. The only thing that it said in there was that it was labeled a small startup program, which it is not. It is based off of a national organization. This is just a regional office that has a budget in the millions of dollars. But looking at the justification document, it talked all about the politics behind it. This is an organization that wants to get rid of cash bail. This is a group that puts your tax dollars at this point now into bailing criminals out of prison. And in many cases, they end up reoffending. And this was not the only one.
They're just tying themselves in knots with these endless contradictions here. But I'm interested in Seattle itself, not just Washington State, but Seattle itself. You've got a bad situation there. Are companies leaving? Can you tell me?
Yes, they 100% are leaving. You have last year into this year at least 160 businesses in downtown Seattle alone that have decided to close up shop permanently. Some of them are leaving the state. Some of them are leaving the city. The most recent one is TR International. It's a global chemical distributor. They've been in downtown Seattle for about 2 decades, and they've decided to go to Edmonds, which is about 15, 20 minutes north of Seattle. And the reason they did it was for the safety of their employees. They had staff members who were getting chased by violent homeless people. They had some folks who had their cars getting broken into. And of course, they had business people who were visiting for meetings who had to run around human waste on sidewalks, and homeless people who are just hanging out on street corners. The position that Seattle has put business people in and residents in is untenable. You have a 12% office vacancy rate in downtown Seattle. This is supposedly a thriving city. That's an unheard of number for a city like a Seattle.
You know, you have become our Seattle reporter, and we appreciate it. Jason Rantz, come back and see us again soon.